Madam Chairperson, distinguished delegates, first of all, I would like to extend my sincere congratulations on the election of the chair and the other members of the Bureau, wishing you every success in this important mission. Please be assured of the full support of Georgia during the entire chairmanship. Hereby, I would like to underline that Georgia aligns itself with the EU statement on social development under the agenda item 26. Today, I have the honor to yield the floor to the distinguished youth delegate of Georgia, Lasha Shakulashvili, who will present the statement on behalf of the youth of Georgia.
Madam Chairperson, distinguished delegates, youth delegates, it's truly an honor and a big responsibility for me to address the third committee of the United Nations General Assembly on behalf of young people and children of Georgia. I would like to also express my deep gratitude to the UN for enabling young people of Georgia to have their own representative to the United Nations, and also thank relevant national agencies for the continued support to the youth delegate program. In my office as a youth delegate, I traveled across the country and met with young people both in the cities as well as the rural areas, some of them located 2,100 meters above the sea level, asking all of them one simple question: what the future should promise to the youth to improve. Young people of Georgia perceive themselves as both generation of today and also the generation that can make an impact today. Meeting with young people revealed that the youth of Georgia feel the same challenges that concern the youth all over the world, such as unemployment, lack of information, regional development, education reform, civic awareness, human rights, sports activities, more volunteer opportunities. And these are just some of the issues that I have collected. The inequality in youth affairs between rural and urban areas is greater now than it has ever been before. These meetings also demonstrated that besides being inhabitants of a digital era, youth have a great demand for decent libraries, especially when it comes to the regions. Speaking about the importance of youth participation in the decision-making process, youth of Georgia are ready to make their contributions and build desired future together with older generation and provide assistance to operation of the local authorities through setting up youth advisory councils. There is also an increased demand in political education platforms, enabling youth to debate and exchange ideas on issues of current world affairs. Model United Nations is a good example. Young people should be an important part of international development agenda. As we approach the post-2015 development agenda, increased participation of youth in international affairs is critical for achieving sustainable development. We envy you because you can plan your life, something we are so uncertain about. These are the words of young people from conflict-affected area with whom I have met. As a representative of a country that in the last 2 decades has experienced several waves of armed conflict, displacement and ethnic cleansing, and still suffers from ongoing belligerent occupation of 20% its territory, increased presence of international organizations and on these territories, and participation and engagement are critical solutions to the problems of over 400,000 IDPs and refugees on the territory of Georgia. This program should also govern this transition unless Georgian children and youngsters attain the required level of development through proper access to education, healthcare, social and economic welfare, regardless of place of their residence. Full realization of the rights of young people living under foreign occupation is also a key to promoting achievement of the Millennium Development Goals. Youth themselves should be part of this process, and UN member states should take concrete steps in accordance with the World Programme of Action for Youth in order to involve these vulnerable groups in actions towards conflict prevention, reconciliation and peace-building process. While discussing some of the issues of concern, I witnessed that youth of Georgia really aligned themselves with an idea that there can be no progress, no prosperity, without full participation of the young people with disabilities. In the world where over 73 million young people are unemployed, this vulnerable group will suffer even more, because the world we live in is simply not adaptable enough to make their journey through life accessible, and such circumstances make them also contend with the stress of unsure future. Last year, Georgia ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. However, there is still a way to go in order to practice it on the ground and translating them into the law. Still, youth can act as main watchdogs for observing the process. Meetings with young people demonstrated that the young women in Georgia are ready to be actively involved in fighting against gender stereotype, which perpetuate discrimination and violence against them. Gender equality through gender mainstreaming shall be made one of the priorities of the Sustainable Development Agenda, and we are committed to the efforts of mainstreaming gender perspective at the national level. There are a number of initiatives, local and international groups involved in empowering girls in this regard. However, more international assistance is required to expand their efforts to also engage, educate, encourage and support men and boys to take responsibility for their behavior and attitudes, and provide more support to the global He for She campaign. In the course of the meetings, you also spoke to me about their desire to have more access to informal education and have more youth engagement centers in the regions in order to assist them in translating their education skills that lead to an increased employment opportunities. In this regard, I would like to mention that the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs of Georgia will start building 10 regional centers for informal education in 2015. Another initiative of the ministry is Youth Ambassador Project, which allows young people from Georgia in different countries to become Georgia's youth ambassadors and implement various programs that increase youth participation and contribute to the country's representation at the international level. There is substantial sense of gratitude among the youth nationwide towards various international scholarship programs for their continued support to the higher education and vocational programs which provide opportunities for youth exchange and empowerment. The national tour made it obvious that there are many heroes living among us who are ready to leave their conflict zone, move to the regions and start filling the gap between urban and rural development, such as Lile, a young lady from the region of Svaneti who set up the first calligraphy school in the remote mountainous village in Upper Svaneti. These people simply believe that being young in Georgia is about having strength, patience and passion to make a progress that lead to a change. Madam Chair, honorable delegates, here is the message of the youth of Georgia. Despite of the fact that our country is a small part of the world, our youth have a power of will, motivation and aspiration to be active citizens of the world, and they do their best in order to make positive impact on issues that concern us both, locally and globally. We are ready to promise to the world our solidarity and will for a positive change. I thank you.